Hello and welcome everybody to Daryl and Buu's weekly update. How you doing, Daryl? How was your long weekend?
Yeah, it was nice. I think the real highlight was on Sunday when the weather was really nice. The rest of the week I don't even remember, but we took full advantage of the sunny weather on Sunday. Wife and I got up early and went for a run along the water by our place, and then finished up our run we're not far from the P&E. So I don't even know what they call that park there, but there's a running track and stairs and all sorts of things. So we finished up there and kind of did a little exercise, a little cross training before we wrapped up our run, and then just got out and enjoyed the sun for the rest of the day, did a bunch of errands, and went for some lunch and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, really nice. How about yourself?
Yeah, we didn't do anything too exciting. Did go riding in North Van. Actually we'll have Ryan on in a second here, but up in the Lynn Valley area at Mount Frome. And then we went for a little walk in Surrey. There's a little really nice, I think they call it a nature reserve or something, Godwin Park. And then we did an Easter dinner. So we got back from our little walk a little bit too late on Sunday, which we were planning to do our little Easter dinner on Sunday, and so we did it yesterday instead. And I think I've talked about my air fryer before. If I haven't, I'm a huge fan of air fryers, and we barely use our oven anymore. You guys have one?
Yeah, we got one. Sorry to interrupt you there, but we got one probably about a month ago, and loving it. Just still experimenting with new things, but everything we've done so far has turned out great. So
so we barely use our oven, and we go to use our oven, and we knew that it was on the fritz, and Helen goes to put a ham in it, and it's not getting up to temperature whatsoever. It was a cooked ham, so we got it up enough, but she also makes Yorkshire puddings, and you need to get the oven really hot for Yorkshire puddings, so it wasn't quite hot enough for that. And then we had there was a bunch of bananas that were starting to go bad. So whenever that happens, and Helen starts to make banana muffins, and then that didn't really turn out. So it's a whole debacle because we've just ignored our oven because of how much we use our air fryer. Might get us an air fryer now.
We'll have to have an air fryer company sponsor the Daryl and Buu show here for all the fun we're doing.
Yeah, speaking of that, I'm wearing a bunch of gear from, before we bring on Ryan here, I'm wearing a bunch of gear from some friends of the show who are helping out with some items for guests of the upcoming Booze Hour live stream. So there's going to be one tomorrow with Michael Argast, 1 p.m. So friends at We Hack Purple, Tanya Janka is really helpful, Equinox, Terry Johal, Okta, Alex Langley, and HashiCorp, formerly Bill Hunka, although Bill has just moved to another company who's a HashiCorp partner, so we'll still get to work with him. But yeah, looking forward to kicking off those live streams starting tomorrow with Michael Argast.
Yeah, that's a great lineup. We're bringing Ryan on. I know he's old friends with Michael Argast also. So
yeah,
without further ado, we'll bring on our friend Ryan here.
All right, how's it going?
Good.
How you doing, Ryan?
Good. Happy April.
Yeah, how was your long weekend?
You know, it was nice. It felt long too, which was kind of nice. You know, we have those weekends where you're like, that was a good solid, like full weekend to stuff. So we transitioned very quickly from ski season to golf season. So that was fun for me. Put all the ski gear away and got the clubs out and went and hit some balls on the weekend. So
yeah,
you'll make all of our the rest of Canada jealous by
sorry. I do not have an air fryer, so I can't join you guys on that side of it. But
oh no,
everybody in the Lower Mainland, it was time to make it happen on the weekend.
You know what? We should have. I know a couple other shows that do like podcasts that do this. They have like guest of the year, completely arbitrary, but maybe guest of the year gets an air fryer at the end.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Did you guys? I don't have any kids, but did you guys have an Easter egg hunt for your kids?
No, my daughter's old enough now to be like, give me the chocolate, and that's it, right? Like just Easter bunny, blah blah blah. Give me the chocolate.
refuses to put in the work for it. Just
pretty much. She's like, these are the ones I like. The rest of them you guys can have. So.
My kids still do. My oldest is 12, and for him, it's still fun for him in that we make it pretty difficult for him. So I recall last year, I hid an egg for him that I forgot where I hid it, and it was up in like this. There's like these high up windows. You almost need a ladder to reach them, and I had hid it behind the blinds. And it took probably a half hour of just like everybody was super frustrated. We just wanted to get on with our day, but we had to find this egg. It was this whole debacle. Anyways, I actually hid the egg in the exact same spot this year. It took him a while. He still went and found it, but we just increased the difficulty level as they get older, I guess.
That's right.
Although the kids turned it around and then hid eggs for my wife and I. And then we actually timed them on how long it took for them to find their eggs. For us, it took us twice as long, and we had less eggs to find.
Nice.
They were pretty clever in where they put them. So
Nice.
I like you're repping all of our friends' brands there, Boo.
Yeah, everybody's here. The whole gang's here.
Pretty much.
So our friends at Okta.
Yeah.
HashiCorp, and Equinex, and We Hack Purple, supporters of the show. So
very good.
The next round of Booze Hour live stream, starting off with Michael Argast, should be pretty fun. Do you have now? You used to work with Michael. Do you have any funny Michael stories to share?
Michael and I go a long way back. We met about 20 years ago. Working together at Sophos way back in the day. Michael was running the global engineers at the time. I don't know if I've got anything. There's no really bad skeletons in the closet. I think it's just, we got a lot of miles between us. I mean, we worked together there, and then I was one of the people who introduced him into TELUS. So he came, and actually I reported to him at TELUS for a number of years, and then he had me back to help get Cobalt off the ground. So that Cobalt story is great. He's doing really, really well, and he's had he's gone through the whole startup venture funding, two rounds of that now. So looking forward to hearing his version of the story. I haven't talked to him. I talked to him about a month ago, but he's a great guest. He certainly knows his stuff, and he's a bit of a legend in the local market. So
for sure. Yeah, looking forward to having him on. Now, I guess as far as just updates on your side, Ryan, we've been working on a few things with you, but maybe you can kind of get us up to speed on things that have been happening with Shape and what's exciting in your world. Yeah,
I mean, it's been. It seems like I would say, almost all the way through integration now with F5 post acquisition. It's been about 18 months, and I think we've collectively sort of found the stride of how we can sort of fit Shape into the different spots within the F5 world. And there's been some new stuff recently. A lot of focus right now in our advanced products group. So that is the two products. One's called the Shape AI Fraud Engine, or SAFE, and the other one's Recognize. And we are seeing a lot of customers looking at that product or those two products and how they can support. Obviously, in the fraud side of things, it always sort of starts and revolves around the retail sector and the financial sector. But we're starting to see more and more use cases outside of those two industries. Lots of work going on in the telco space at the moment. And that's an interesting one because there's a lot of telcos have a lot of landscape available on the internet. And so they're exposed to some uniqueness in their industry. People are stealing phones and stealing phone numbers and, swapping out SIMs. And the phone is so critical to your authentication as a human being. As I say, I'm just looking at the Okta logo there, but if you can imagine, or, if you can get a hold of somebody's phone, and you can reset all kinds of password, and usually multi-factor is tied to the phone. So we've been working with a number of telcos in terms of number porting fraud, SIM swapping fraud. And then more recently, we've been working with a couple of the Canadian telcos as they've had some issues with folks going through some social engineering to get credentials and then stealing physical devices or new phones. So lots of work in those areas to try and identify how these guys are sneaking in and finding their way around. I think that everybody's got a good handle on how to secure the main retail channels, but it's those edges where there's waste in the environment. So we've been really busy with that. And I think the other side of that coin is our product called Recognize, which is identifying good humans. And we're starting to see, I think, as we go through the elongated world of COVID, there's a lot more people saying, before it was just get a lot of authentication in place, try and protect as many people as possible. And now I think people are trying to settle down the amount of friction and the number of steps between you and the transaction. And I think that's a really good spot for Recognize, where we're able to identify that user and then say, if this user we can identify this user and the user's device and nothing has changed about that environment, that user, that interaction, then let's try and remove some of that friction and let them have a more seamless interaction with you as the customer. So whether it's retail transactions or getting data or financial transactions. So those are the two main areas of development. And then ongoing with our primary product, Shape Enterprise Defense product that's looking after bots, is just getting tighter and tighter and tighter with the different F5 tools and the different possible integrations out there. We're doing a lot of work with Okta, where if we see something that's negative, either from the bot side or from the human interaction side, that we can call Okta directly and have them challenge that user. So lots of integration work like that going on.
Yeah, very cool. I got a thing on my calendar later today to check out with the advanced product group.
Okay.
A big presentation on some stuff, but Shape has just an army of data scientists. Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know the number. A lot of them, if you look at the sort of the core team that Shape had when just prior to acquisition, they were mainly Bay Area folks from the big Bay Area universities. And lots of PhDs, lots of folks who are very, very, very clever. And it's been really fun to take some interesting sort of customer problems to them and then turn them loose and see what they can come up with. They have incredible ability to find information in a giant data set. So I would say that I think the number I had heard was well over 50% of the Shape employee base was working in the data science side of things.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we were listed as one of the top 100 data science companies. I'm not sure in what region, but we were certainly identified as a data science company. And I think if you look at the real underpinnings of what Shape was, that's a lot of what we've done is a lot of AI, a lot of ML. That's the background of how we've been successful so far.
Yeah. It really, when we have those conversations with customers and some of them are having or sharing the details of like how they have to use humans to do a whole bunch of this stuff, and not to refer to them as just humans, but people doing things that Shape could come in, clean up, and you look at the salaries that are being paid for people that are doing reactive type work. And if we can turn them into more proactive, strategic type roles, and then just use Shape in order to just do the things that they were just repeatedly doing, there's so much ROI that can be had.
There's it's been interesting as we've gone through the whole COVID thing now for the last year or so. There's been a big shift in the market in terms of thinking that way. It's like, is there a better way? Is there a faster way? And machine learning, once you can train the models to do what they need to do, the speed of execution is remarkable. The main interaction we have, for example, with a bank, we ask them for a fraud file so we can compare both known good and known bad into the model, so we can train the model to react properly. Once we're able to take a generic model and then train it with the right customer specific data, we take a generalized model and make it very, very specific. It is, and I'm still new, I would call myself new into this space. It is remarkable how fast and how accurate those tools can react. Point where we're seeing very, very incredibly low false positives and incredibly high efficacy coming off of those models. It's remarkable. And I think that this is still early stages, and that not just for Shape, but I think for everybody in the AI space. I've got a really good friend who works over at ThoughtSpot, and they are doing incredible work there in terms of just data analytics and volume, being able to sort of do volume data, number crunching and analytics just to get more usable data to customers. And it is remarkable. And obviously, we saw the massive IPO of Snowflake earlier this year, same thing, right? Those guys are changing the way that we view this. So it's such a neat space to be in. It'll be cool to see what comes next out of the Shape team. We've focused ourselves on helping our retail and our banking clients, and now we're getting into telco, and will be very interesting to see how we modify the models next.
Yeah, I would think areas like, the fraudsters, like you said, are obviously going to go after the low hanging fruit in retail and banking, but healthcare has been, the last 5 years being hammered by fraud and just some really, really horrible various stuff. So as more and more healthcare moves to, patient and doctor portals, with very sensitive, valuable information behind, I think that's kind of a natural next step for Shape to move into.
Yeah, certainly. I think, Buu, an interesting conversation for Michael tomorrow. Michael has been leading a petition going to the federal government for multi-factor authentication for all banking in Canada. And I know it got read in the House, so it'll be interesting to get his perspective on it too. But I think just the way to put layers of protection between ourselves and those folks that are trying to steal our data or steal our money or interfere in transactions is important. And I think to your point, Daryl, I think healthcare, that's a hard one for us. We certainly have focused ourselves around, retail, airline, travel in general, although it hasn't been the best time for travel, but just focusing in on a little bit of those core industries that have been part of the sort of the bringing up of Shape. That we certainly focus on those, hoping to find those pieces that we can take towards healthcare. There's so much healthcare application, and as you digitize healthcare across Canada, the other area that I think will be very interesting is just in bigger services like federal services.
Right.
Those are, we've got some federal customers in the United States. We've engaged with a number of governments globally, and certainly fraud around COVID payments and stuff like that it just keeps pushing those envelopes. So I think that it's going to be interesting to see what happens next, but I think healthcare is probably one of two. I would say federal services would be one and healthcare would be the other.
Right.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. So moving into our current events segment here, I got some interesting articles for you guys. Actually, this is one that this is something I brought up a couple weeks ago. I think we're all kind of recognizing that housing resale is booming right now. Can you guys guess what the current benchmark price is for a single detached home in Vancouver is now?
Oh man, that's terrifying to even think of.
Let me say 1.25, maybe something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. Probably one. I'll go 1.3.
Sorry, guys. It is where is it here? 1.7.
Oh my
Good Lord.
Up 17% over March 2020.
Yeah.
Average days on market 27. Yeah, pretty insane.
Yeah, and they said that's happening maybe to a lesser degree, but right across Canada. It's not just the big markets.
Yeah. Daryl, I know you've got family over in the island, as do I, and I was just hearing that the market in Victoria specifically, but on the lower part of the island is just it's numbers they've never seen before.
Yeah, and I can see that continuing to happen as this whole COVID effect, people looking to migrate out of the dense urban areas to smaller places like Victoria, or even smaller than that. So yeah.
It's interesting, Buu, that you raise this. My next door neighbor runs one of the largest landscaping companies. They do a lot of hardscape, build outs of backyards, and also just landscaping and general landscaping services. And he is booked solid all the way through this year and already booking into next year. He's like, COVID has been incredible, where people are making investments. They're taking their vacation travel money, they're pouring it into their yards. And so they're making wholesale changes. And he's like, this is the busiest. So their company is growing at an incredible rate to get on top of that. It's not surprising when you see these numbers that you would see that as well.
Yeah. I just listened to a podcast, not on the landscape construction side, but on the civil construction side of of Kelowna, and the city being really developer friendly and intentionally developing sidewalks in the downtown core so that restaurants can spill out seating a lot more into the sidewalks now. So it's good to see cities kind of accommodating the growth as well.
It's one that we were just mentioning the other day. Obviously, with the new lockdowns, you can't go inside restaurants, but patios are still open. So my wife and I over the weekend found a couple of patios just to go check out. But even the smaller patios that they've kind of just built out onto the street, it's something. Vancouver just had a strange lack of patios for a place that 4 or 5 months out of the year you actually could be outside, or even in the winter if you put some heating. But hopefully we'll see that continue to develop.
Yeah, no, great comment. I agree. It's funny to watch. Like, I live in North Van, and down Lonsdale, they keep encroaching, and Lonsdale gets narrower and narrower because they're down both sides of it now in certain sections. And you're like, man, nobody planned for this, but it's the right way to do it. It's so nice.
Yeah, it really is, and good for Kelowna. Their downtown, I think, has really developed quite nicely over the last 10 years or so.
Yeah. Speaking of moving out a little bit, now, Ryan, did you deal with Kian at TELUS?
Yes.
If you recall. Okay, so here's an interesting tie for you. Kian used to live downtown. He actually just moved to New West. So, the people that are kind of moving away from the downtown core don't need to go into the office as much. Kian's wife has become a bit of an influencer, I guess, in the home styling space. And if you pop down here, here's our friend Kian.
Yeah,
that's Kian's girlfriend or fiance, perhaps. But really cool lofts that they moved into in New West now. I guess they got a hold of these already. They've already moved into it, so I don't know if you can actually get one of these anymore. But under $600,000, you're on the water in New West. Really cool. So these, if you can see, I wonder if I can zoom in here. So these big windows here on the patio, they're actually folding sliding doors.
Nice.
So you can open the entire wall out. It's just amazing looking. So neat little tie-in here with our friend Kian.
Yeah, he's I've gotten to know him really, really well. He's a great guy. They're a great customer, and we've enjoyed spending time. And I actually knew he was moving, we got caught up with him in the move while we were doing some real work. So
Okay, cool.
Nice.
It's funny, if you look at that photo that you showed there earlier, you would have never guessed. I mean, to me, that looks like maybe a place up in the hill on North Van or something like that. I would have never guessed that is somewhere in New West. That's done a nice job with that.
Yeah, very.
Yeah, there's a lot of waterfront there that, it's a good redevelopment spot. It's kind of awkward how it is now, but I think they're doing some good stuff with it. Really cool.
Yeah, a lot of potential there.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of some development now, I know we know you're from Edmonton, Ryan. This gondola, I guess, is approved by the city council, and so you'll have a gondola in the middle of Edmonton.
I don't understand this. It's not the most scenic of cities, so you're going to get up above to see what?
Well, kudos to them for trying something different. I'll say that.
Yeah.
With Edmonton, I've not been to Edmonton in quite a few years, but I understand now with the new rink and the surrounding area, it's actually
Ice District's really cool. They do a lot of stuff in the River Valley, so it kind of wraps a little bit around downtown. And when I was growing up there, the big thing was we had a waterfall off the high level bridge, and they could change the color of the water and that kind of thing. So they like to push these new things. So this is cool. When I think about it, I'm like, you're getting it up high. It's just so flat. So
you can see for days. Another little bit here. I know we've chatted about this before, but investors coming on with local Vancouver company Dapper Labs, who's big in the NFT space right now with the NBA Top Shot. But pretty interesting here, $2.6 billion.
Yeah, there's some serious money going into that organization, and it'll be very interesting to see the new properties that come on board, and they have plans to launch basically every single major anything sports related thereafter. So it's going to be pretty cool. Having Michael Jordan on board doesn't hurt either. He's very helpful generating eyeballs.
Yeah,
relatively known.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You can see their roster of investors here.
Yeah.
Pretty sizable amount of celebrities on here.
Yeah. Well, it tells you how good they did with the NBA Top Shot to have this many NBA players being like, yeah, we're into this thing all the way. Obviously the player individually benefits, but you'd think that the hockey players won't be far behind, and certainly the NFL players will be all over it as well. So
yeah. MLB, NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, if anybody knows how to monetize sports, it'll be this crew of folks. And I'm
sure very true.
Have the expertise into it. Very cool. Another little bit here. I didn't realize, and this makes even me feel old. Pavel Bure turned 50.
Whoa.
Huh.
I didn't know that. Really? Wow.
Yeah, it doesn't seem that long ago he was here and doing all those crazy things.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, I was never the biggest Canuck fan, but he was always that one player that you just watch and be like, this is what's going to happen next. He's there was a period of time there where you could argue that he was the best player on the planet.
Yeah. I think
that's incredible. 50 years old. Yeah, that makes it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think Connor McDavid now is that player that when he picks up the puck, he could do something on his own on any given shift. And Pavel Bure was kind of like that. I'm not going to give him the same credit as McDavid, but he was certainly close.
Yeah. Cool. Alrighty. Well, I think that's time for us. Hopefully, there you are. Cool. So we will, or I'll be streaming tomorrow with Michael Argast, 1 p.m. And otherwise, we'll see folks next week.
Great. Thanks, Ryan. Good to see you. Bye, folks.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. See you soon.
Bye now.